Nicole Whitney, News for the Soul, life-changing talk radio from the uplifting to the unexplained. It's a great honor to have you on the show tonight. Welcome, Deepak Chopra.
Thank you.
Next on News for the Soul, it's time to illuminate your life with Krista Hurley. Krista is an intuitive healer working with theta, reconnection, crystal viewing, emotional freedom technique, and more. Her goal is to facilitate healing and transformational changes in the lives of her clients, creating lives filled with love, abundance, and joy. Welcome, Krista, back to News for the Soul.
Well, it took us a couple of minutes to connect to the board, so let's get right into it. Krista is up first today. Krista Hurley, welcome back to News for the Soul. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful, Nicole. How you doing?
I'm still alive. Thanks for asking. What's new?
Not too much, to be honest. Just kind of keeping on. Things are going well in our world over here. So, yeah, I've been working with a bunch of clients lately and have been guided just to really help them connect to source energy for themselves, which has been a lot of fun. So I thought maybe we could play around with that today for today's show, just how to show our audience, different tools and techniques to help them connect into source energy for themselves.
That sounds wonderful. A lot of people are, getting caught up in the mainstream stuff and feeling disconnected. That's the overall theme. So perfect.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So there's a few things I wanted to, I'll just kind of give the outline for today's call. It's the teacher and me. I want to talk about what energy is after a quick introduction, and then we're going to talk about how to connect to source energy, and sort of what are some steps that can help you do that. And then we'll do a group healing where we go up, we do a bit of a meditation, do some downloads specific to what can help us receive guidance more clearly and clear any blocks that might be preventing that for us. And then actually do like a little activity where everyone listening to the show now or later will connect in and just play around with receiving like a yes and a no response, asking questions, and just see what guidance is received. So, yeah, basically, for me, probably this tool, finding out how to connect to source energy or to God or to the universe, is absolutely the single greatest and most important change I made in my life. So if nothing else, really tune in and turn your phones off, turning distractions off and connect into the show and let's just receive all that you can to really connect in and to strengthen clarity around the guidance that's within you. So basically, we're going to work on connecting more deeply and communicating more clearly to receive that guidance from source, from the universe, from God, the God of your understanding, from the divine intelligence, whatever it is you call that, all that is energy, that's what we're going to connect into today. So when we're receiving guidance from source energy and we're acting on that guidance, so receiving and acting, we feel a lot more joyful and a lot more aligned with our truth, with who we really are, aligned with our purpose and why we're here. And there's usually many different purposes, and ultimately it's really to feel good and to feel excited and really to feel more peaceful and at ease. So alignment comes from really connecting into this inner guidance that we have. And then our life flows more easily. Our desires and our manifestations almost show up like magic. And that does actually happen. I've had things happen in my life recently where I'm like, I actually am shocked at how well desires and manifestations are showing up for me. And it's fun. It's like you're playing. So that comes with practice, and that comes with really tuning in and connecting in and listening to those whispers. I remember hearing on Oprah years ago, when you connect into your inner guidance system and you listen to the whispers of your guidance, things are really easy. It's when we ignore those whispers or we don't act on them that they become louder and louder and louder until some major life event has to happen, to knock us over the head, literally or otherwise, to get us to wake up and to listen. So let this call be that for you, a part of the whisper, so you don't have to get to that place. So for when we have that disconnect, so when we're not listening to the whispers, and it is a perceived disconnect, because really the source energy is the essence of who we are. It's like the fabric of our soul, essentially. It is our non-physical self. So it's ever present. So when we feel disconnected, it's just our perception. It's just something that we've created. But generally that disconnect creates a life that's much more dramatic. You know, it's more turbulent. There's more pain generally. We're not necessarily taking the easy road. So, you know, for me in my experience, just to kind of give a connection for people, as a young kid, I remember praying every night. I was taught to pray before bed, and I would have this conversation with God, and I would beg God to help me feel better, or, you know, to help me in my life, whatever it was that I was needing and asking for, and I really, truly never felt heard. And I didn't feel better. I still felt, you know, sad most of the time, depressed, and because I wasn't seeing changes in my life from the praying I was doing, I felt really abandoned and, to be honest, unworthy of God's love. And I think for a lot of us, like in my experience and the people I've worked with, on some level, I think that feels true. And sort of this deep abandonment of God is a really deep underlying program that people can experience and can create through law of attraction. If you believe you're unworthy of God's help or God's assistance or, you know, God's love, really, what are you creating in your life? You know, what if you're sending out this unworthiness of God's love, of all love, you know, that's the deepest, really. And you're probably not receiving a lot of love back in your experiences, and you're probably creating things more difficult than would be ideal. So for me, my life was definitely disconnected. It reflected that. I was depressed. I had depression for a period of time. I had some physical conditions that were chronic that I could not clear no matter what I did. I felt stuck, and I really, truly didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I wanted. Like, there was no part of me that was living my truth or felt authentic, because I really didn't know what that was. And I think a lot of people can, some level, I think a lot of us are feeling stuck or just going through the motions, or, you know, feeling as though there's change that we'd like to make, but maybe it's too hard or whatever it is. There's that level of disconnect. We're not in our flow. And for me, I really thought that God was this man in the sky outside of me, and that he was punishing me or withholding help or withholding healing or withholding love. But when I realized that God is within me, again, the source energy is flowing within me, and that I actually get to create with that energy, that it's up to me what my life looks like on so many levels, that was when everything changed. I kind of got mad at myself at first, because I realized, why am I creating this? Why am I stuck in this place when I could create something different? And I eventually started to take responsibility rather than blaming everyone else. So that, again, was the single greatest shift for me, and probably the single greatest shift in my awakening and in my experience, in allowing me to expand into something new. So through the healing process, it was these tools that I'm going to share with you that really connected me into my own inner guidance system, or God, or source energy, again, whatever you want to call that brought me clarity. And now I can listen to that guidance, again, when the whispers show up, and then everything's so much easier because I'm just flowing with my flow. And there's just a divine perspective in everything that I experience. So even when something that looks like, you know, I've been handed lemons, I can see the divine understanding of that and make lemonade out of it. Like, there's a perspective that comes through, an understanding that I needed, and it's like, oh yeah, that's why that happened. Okay, that makes sense, and it's pointing me to this truth. So I don't get stuck in my stuff the same way I used to, because I'm I'm connected and I'm communicating and I'm seeing the bigger picture. So it really is huge to have this connection and to deepen this connection. So we'll help you do that. Okay. Does that make sense, Nicole? Have you found that yourself? The more you're connected, the easier things flow for you, or?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think people are feeling like they keep getting the rug pulled out under their feet where something shocking in the mainstream happens. It slips into Facebook and it affects our belief systems currently.
Absolutely. Well, and I would argue actually, so there's 2 points to it. I had that program for sure, that the rug is pulled out from under my feet. So because that program was already in place, I was then creating that in my experience. So by law of attraction, that was what was happening. And there are many, many, many examples of that. When anything really great happens, then the rug would get pulled out from under my feet. And I think for me, partly with the mainstream media, I've disconnected from paying close attention. And I don't know if that's for everyone, but for me, I don't pay close attention because it does have a negative effect for the most part if I really immerse myself into mainstream media. And I don't know that the highest truth and the highest vibration is coming through the mainstream media. I definitely think there's some filters of inaccuracy coming through. But the place I like to go and to stay when it comes to the events that happen in the world is that all things are pointing us towards the light, and all experiences are pointing us towards the truth and towards the divine truth. So at the core of all things, whether it's, there's an event that is on some level awakening more people up to the truth of what's going on around the dysfunctional government or, the corruption in this or in that. It's like there is an aspect of it that's pointing us towards the truth, whether it's shaking us and waking us up a little bit, whether it's, we realize we have a voice and we need to make a stand. That's where I go, and that's where I like to say is that when there's events that happen in the world, it's like, let's look at that. What is the light coming from this event? What is it pointing us towards? And when you look at the divine highest truth, there's always something positive. So it's, again, looking for that and creating more of that. And ultimately, I believe that, again, if you look at law of attraction, which is a universal law, from a bigger perspective and a broader perspective, the more conscious and the more high vibrational, the more positive, the more loving I become, I send that out to the world. And then the more loving you become, Nicole, the more we all step into our truth and connect into source energy. And the more each of us choose our flow, by law of attraction, we start to create different experiences in the world, right? So again, I don't believe that it's God creating some of the weather patterns or, you know what I mean, like some of this stuff. It's more our underlying vibrational programs that are sending this out and creating on a mass scale. So, if all of the planet is vibrating at a lower vibration and it's stuck in fear and pain and trauma, then, our weather is going to look a little bit more turbulent. We're all going to feel a little bit more turbulent. There'll be more examples and more focus on some of the dysfunction that's happening in the world, versus if we're all, changing and growing and expanding and becoming more positive, or more of us are doing that, then there's a huge, better impact or a more significant change that happens, and more positive things can happen in the world. I don't know if I'm articulating that as well as I'd like to be, but it really is about each and every one of us changing ourselves, and the potency and the power of each and every one of us being in our flow is way more potent than one person who's dysfunctional and, feeling low vibrational and disconnected. The connection is so much more powerful, exponentially more powerful than one connected person exponentially more powerful than one disconnected person. So our collective consciousness really can have a significant positive effect. So that's kind of where I like to go as far as staying focused and really working on myself to help change the planet just by working on me, just by, and as a positive, my life gets better, and as does those people who are directly connected to me, if they so choose it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. It always does seem to come back to that. It's just can be really challenging sometimes lately.
It can. And for me, the more connected I feel, and intentionally make the time for that, the more I can see the bigger picture. But you're right, it can be challenging for sure. Okay, so why don't we just go into talking a little bit about the source energy and how to connect, and then we'll just see if anything more around that comes up. But okay, so with the source energy, again, for those of you that haven't really heard much about it, I'll just kind of give the basics of my understanding, or the understanding that's come through me. Source energy is this infinite wisdom. It's this higher consciousness. It's unconditional love, and it's like total appreciation. And it's basically the essence, as I mentioned before, of our non-physical self. So some of us call that our soul energy, but it's like this multi-dimensional, flowing, ever-present, awesome divine energy. And that's who we are. You know, we're these humans, like I sometimes call them our meat suits. We have these meat suits, and really our source energy is what is within those meat suits. So we're having this physical experience, but really it's about the non-physical experiencing the physical. So, you know, we don't need to be gifted or to have someone else connect us into God. Like a lot of times people believe they need a mediator. You know, they have to speak to somebody higher above them in a church to get God to send them a message, or speak to someone, you know, a healer to get God to send them a message. It's not like that. We have the ability, every single one of us, it's our birthright, to connect inward to receive our own guidance. It's there. Sometimes we just need a little bit of help to be reminded of that. So again, the source energy, or God, or the universal energy, it's in all things. It's in every single living thing. Everything is connected to source. And it's a very high vibrational energy. It's the highest vibrational. All it is energy. So the more we connect into that, the higher vibrational we feel. So the lighter we feel, the more joyful we feel, the more connected we feel, and the more in our flow we feel. And that's why we're here, is to kind of reconnect into that all that is energy that we are, while having an awesome physical human experience. So the way to connect, and for some of us this is tricky, but it's really important that we are still. So we have to quiet our mind and our body. And while I was writing this and like kind of connecting into some of these ideas, the one thing that came in for me is that there's a lot of guilt even around that sometimes. You know, when everyone else in your world is busy and glorifying busy even, which I definitely did earlier in my life, you know, there can be a guilt for us around being still and quieting our lives a little bit. And even if we have a period of time in our life, it's still really important that we embed stillness through our day, because that is when we're receptive to this guidance. It comes through a whole lot more easily when we're in these quiet moments. So for anyone who, I'm just hearing to start with releasing anyone from the belief that busy is better. And any way you glorify busy, so any way you're stuck into society's beliefs around that, or you've picked that up through, you know, your parents perhaps and their beliefs, can we just release that busy's better? And can we instead give you the highest perspective, understanding, and truth on balance, and on having a balanced life and feeling balanced within your body and within your experience? And with that balance, you can embed stillness and quiet moments and receptivity So just showing everyone that it's safe and that you're allowed to be still and to have those quiet moments and to set those with intention. So, you know, I would recommend for everyone, if they don't already have a meditation practice of some kind, to include that. And mine's not elaborate. Like, I try to meditate even just 5 minutes a day. And for me, what meditation is literally sitting and breathing. And instead of being all up in my head, it's just being present in the now moment. And so what that looks like for me is I just notice the experiences that are around me. So I don't try to clear my mind, because that doesn't work for me anyhow. That was initially what I thought you're supposed to do when you meditate is, oh, my mind's supposed to be blank. But that's not really it. It's more just be present and be aware of your surroundings. And then in that presence and with practice, you'll find your receptivity opens up. So literally, what worked for me was just to note my experiences. So if I was having a judgment of how bad I am at meditation, I'd be like, okay, note, judgment, and self-criticism. So I'd just make a note. I'd become the observer. I'm noticing that I'm having this judgment. And I could note right now there's this heater noise in the background. So I would note background noise. You know, note fear that's popping in. So it's literally as a thought pops in or a feeling in your body, notice tension in my heart. I'm making note of that and becoming the observer. So that's the way I meditate. And again, for me, 5 minutes is a great start. And it just starts to allow you to quiet that mind and become more receptive. And then I also obviously love theta healing. And theta healing is a technique or a tool that helped me connect into this all that is energy. So it helped me connect into source energy and actually have a dialogue and hear answers back that I've never been able to do before. I wasn't, you know, connecting to this man in the sky, but I was connecting to some kind of energy that's all that is energy, that is God. But in the way that they do this theta healing meditation, it kind of provides a connection that I didn't know was possible before. I needed that tool because I couldn't receive information or guidance otherwise. I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening to those spidey senses. I didn't know those were coming from God. So basically what theta healing is, it's a very simple meditation or visualization that through millions of people practicing this meditation has really created a simple, quick way to connect into source energy. And when you're there, generally you'll feel different. So because I do theta healing and I spend a lot of my day when I work with clients in that theta brainwave, it allows me to become very receptive to intuitive guidance and to this divine energy and truly just has really changed my life. So with a theta brainwave, it's the same brainwave that you're in when you're in a light dream-like state, but this one's a conscious brainwave, as you'll experience, and it's directly connected to your subconscious mind. So when it comes to releasing programs of the subconscious mind, it's ideal because it's easy to release them and then to replace them with something that suits your desire, something that you want to create in your life. So yeah, the more you can begin to have stillness embedded in your day, again with intention, the more you're going to receive guidance, and the more you'll kind of be in your flow, and things again will just get easier and more fun. And with that being said, I find it easier to connect near water. So a lot of people have said, hop in your tub. If you want to try this while you're having a bathtub, you might feel more connected. For me, I get tons of guidance when I'm going for a walk on the beach. With the Great Lake or an ocean, and it's just there's a deepening of a connection when I'm near water. So for some of you, even in the hot tub, like that might be fun to try, to see if that helps for you. So first step is being still to connect, and then the second step is releasing any limiting programs or any resistance or any fears that you might have to connecting and to receiving guidance. For some of us, that's scary because we're afraid of what we're going to hear. For some of us, there's some real fears into coming into alignment with who we are. And so maybe we don't want to hear that guidance, or we don't want to listen to it because, we're in a marriage that we're not supposed to be in. For example, that was some that have come up for people who know they're in this marriage that's not working, and yet they can't end it. It's not possible for them. Or, they're in a job that it's just not right, and it's slowly making them sick, and yet they can't leave it because they've got all these benefits or a pension that's coming to them or whatever it is. There's lots of ways we can convince ourselves that we have no choice and that we have to be stuck. Or maybe they're living in a place that isn't right for them. They're in this big house alone and they're tied to this home and they just can't travel like they want to because they've got a huge mortgage or whatever it is. But they don't feel comfortable selling for whatever reason. So, sometimes our truth is hard to hear, or we believe that is true. So we're going to release some common programs, which is also that you're unworthy of even receiving guidance or whatever. We're going to release them on this call for people. And if there's any specific for you, obviously you can work through those as well. And then the next one, the third and fourth one is to ask. So we're going to connect. We're going to clear those programs out so we can connect even more deeply. And then we're going to ask questions of Source, of God, of the universe. And the more specific we can be, the better. So when you ask specifically, you're going to get specific answers. If you ask vaguely, you might not get the same. You might get an answer different from what you thought you were actually asking. Like it gets to be a little bit muddled. So the more specific you can be, like if you're asking a question like, should I get a dog? Should I get a dog for a pet? Your question isn't maybe as specific as it could be. So I like to use the term highest and best. And with highest and best, it's generally if something's in my highest and best, it's going to be in the highest. And highest and best is like a soul perspective, highest and best. So it doesn't necessarily mean easiest. If you want easiest, you might want to also ask for easiest. Highest and best is what's best for me, for my soul on a soul level. So you might say easiest and highest and best, but you want to be as specific as possible. So you could say, is it in my highest and best to get a toy poodle this summer, if that's something you're considering, and then see if you get a yes or a no regarding that. Or, if you're more advanced, you might actually hear or feel or see some guidance that's more specific than a yes or no. But it's really good to start with yes or no questions. For me, when I first started doing this work, I had no idea I could even connect into God, let alone actually get answers. And so I started with yes or no. Everything I asked would be a yes or no answer. Yes or no, because I could feel into that, and I'll show you how to do that. And then as I got more in tune and more aligned and more connected, I can actually hear phrases and responses and almost hear in pictures sometimes. It's kind of cool. So then the other thing too about asking is I like to ask two questions. So when I'm not really looking for something specific, I like to ask what else is possible. So sometimes it's nice to ask the universe, what else is possible? And I don't even need an answer because I know it's just going to show up. You're just going to show me how it gets better than this. So those are the two that come from Access Consciousness. It's what else is possible and how does it get better than this? And you don't want an answer necessarily. You just put it out there in any circumstance and you just allow the universe to show you how it gets better. So we ask, and then the last step is to receive. So it's to look at how we receive. There's a couple components in the receiving. It's a unique, you almost have to sort of let it go and let it flow in the receiving. If you're so desperate and you have to know, and you're stuck on receiving, the resistance in that is going to make it harder to receive. Whereas if you're just open to, okay, yeah, I might get guidance, I might not, and just playing around with this, it's just light. Again, you clear that resistance, then the reception can come through. So, yes, we're going to look into that. So why don't we, I guess, Nicole, are there any questions? Or I was thinking next I'll step into doing a little meditation, clearing some beliefs, and then having people feel into asking questions.
That would be perfect. Everyone's kind of in listening mode right now. Did you want any background process music with this?
Do you want to do that? We could do some background music as we just kind of head up into connecting in. So what we'll do is we'll connect in first, and then I'll just guide everyone through like a 2-minute meditation where you observe whatever it is going in your surroundings. And then we'll clear out some common beliefs and programs that are coming through as guidance that people on the call might be carrying, and then give you alternative perspectives. And then we'll have everyone feel into like a yes or a no response in their body. And maybe, Nicole, maybe I might ask if somebody is calling in, or if you want to give some feedback on that towards the end, because I think with that it's kind of nice for people to hear a few different responses as to what a yes and no feels like, but we'll feel into that, okay?
Perfect.
Okay. All right. So let's get started. I'll wait for that background music.
Here it comes.
Okay. So as we do that, just connecting in, so just getting comfortable. And just taking some deep breaths. So taking a deep breath in and letting it out. Another deep breath in. And letting it out. One more time, relaxing your body, feeling heavy in your chair as you take another deep breath in and release it out. Okay, now I want to get you to connect into your heart center. So feeling into your heart chakra, just feeling into that loving heart energy. And as you breathe in, notice the color, feel into the color of your heart, and send that energy of your heart down through your body. So sending that loving energy down into the base of your spine, down into your legs, down into your feet. And then we're going to continue to send it all the way down through each layer of the earth, into the center of the earth, which is that crystal core Mother Earth energy, that beautiful grounding earth energy. So when you get to the core of the earth, take a big scoop of that earth energy and just allow it to head back up through the earth. Again, you can notice the color, and then we're going to bring that amazing earth energy, that connection to Mother Earth, up through the core or the base of our feet, and then up into our legs, feeling more grounded and calm and at peace as we bring this beautiful earth energy all the way up through our body. So back up into the base of your spine, coming up through your body, and as you do, you'll feel your power center, so your chakras open and spin and align. Continuing up into your neck, into the top of your head. And then just notice a ball of energy forming above your head. And again, feel into the color of this ball of energy. And we're going to use this ball of energy as your spaceship to propel you into this all that is energy. So it'll connect you into source energy. Now in this meditation, we're connecting outward. You can also do meditations to connect in, but this one it's been used often and tends to be an easy beginner way of connecting to source energy. Most of us, initially when we connect, believe that it's outside of us, because we've been taught that God's outside of us, God's in the sky, or the universal energy being outside of us. So this meditation is great for beginners. And great for anyone, don't get me wrong, it's potent, but it tends to be a good way to start when you're first connecting, to connect outward. What this is still doing is connecting us to our inner guidance system at the same time. So notice that ball of light above your head, and we're going to jump our energy or consciousness into that ball of light. And again, we're going to use it to propel us into source energy. So sending this ball of light up into the sky, heading up past each and every star and each and every planet in the universe. So just pushing yourself and feeling yourself moving upward and onward past each planet, past the stars. And you're going to continue pushing onward and upward past all this layer of beautiful bright light. I'm heading up past each and every beautiful bright light. And then continuing onward and upward, you'll notice the bright lights turn into these golden flecks of light. So pushing up through these beautiful golden lights. Continuing onward still. And you'll reach this thin layer of sort of like rainbow lights. So you'll just see these different layers of rainbow effects. So just kind of pushing yourself through all the beautiful colors of the rainbow. These are the laws of the universe. So as you push yourself up, you'll see the top layer, which is the law of compassion. And continuing to push yourself all the way through, feeling yourself easily propelled upward, feeling more compassion for yourself and for your life and for your loved ones and your experiences as you push through the law of compassion. And then you'll see the doorway to the energy of all that is. So noticing that doorway, noticing its brilliance, feeling this amazing energy behind it. And as you open the doorway, push yourself into this beautiful pearly white light and just push yourself through and into this essence of source energy of all that is, God, of universe, of divine intelligence, and really allowing yourself to send yourself deep into that place. And bringing in this understanding, this highest perspective, understanding and truth of this energy, of source energy, of your divine intelligence, of your inner guidance system, of God. And just bringing in the highest perspective, understanding and truth, creator of all that is, whatever all those terms mean, let's just have the highest truth on that and bring that in for you now so that your highest truth is the same as that. And can we show you what it would feel like to know that it's your birthright, to feel supported and to feel guided by this amazing all that is energy that you are? Can we show you what it would feel like to know that your essence and the fabric of your being is this all that is energy? And as such, you are a co-creator of your experience, that you get to co-create and you get to choose on many levels what it is you're creating for yourself, and that you get to experience and allow your experiences to point you to the truth of this source energy, of this divine knowing, but that you can do that now with ease and with joy and with fun, and that you can let go of the pain, the trauma, and the drama that place of pain, trauma, and drama that you've been co-creating from. And can we show you that that time is finished and done? You no longer need to co-create from that place, that you get to choose something different now. And can we show you that you're worthy and deserving of this support and this guidance, and that it's safe and possible for you to receive it and connect in more deeply than ever before? And can we show you how to set with intention easily moments of your day to be still, and how to embed less busyness through your day and through your experience, and how to take the steps and the choices to create that for yourself, and how to feel the benefits of that now. And then let's pull any beliefs that any of you may have that you're unworthy of God or unworthy of this potent energy, or that you're unworthy of being a co-creator, that it's impossible, that you're unlovable, or that you're abandoned by this energy, or that somehow you've been punishing yourself with disconnection. Because a lot of us do that, where we believe we deserve to be punished for whatever reasons. Wherever you've learned that, through all time and space, if you've learned you deserve punishment, can you release that up as well? For you and for your inner child? And can we just give everyone the highest perspective, understanding, and truth on their worth? And that it's even more than just worth. It's not even that you're worthy of God, that you are connected always. It's flowing through you. And that you can just choose to connect. You can choose that reconnection, and you can choose to connect more deeply than ever before. And can we also bring in the highest perspective, understanding, and truth on how lovable you are, that you are this divine love. Again, the fabric of who you are is source energy, and that is unconditional love, that you are that. And that you know how to connect into the unconditional love that you have for yourself, and that you have for your experience and for the world and for others in your experience. And you're choosing to be love and to radiate love now, so that it's safe for you to let that love flow. And can we show you who you'd be without these old patterns, without these old belief systems, and show your genetic line, so your ancestors, how the highest truth on this connection to source energy as well, and that it's allowed. And so for anyone who's got the belief system or the programs that you need to connect into someone else for guidance, like you need to have a mediator of some kind, to have this guidance, or to connect to somebody in the church first, or to be in a certain location to receive guidance, like any rules around when and how and whom to receive guidance, can we just release all of those rules up throughout time and space as well, and show you that no matter where you are, no matter whom you're with, you are connected, because again, this energy flows within you. And that you are connected now. And can we give you the highest perspective, understanding, and truth on how to know the difference between whom it is that you're connecting to, if whom's the right term, but what energies you're connecting to? Because we do all have guardian angels that we can connect into, and we have guides that we can connect into. We have our ancestors or spirits that have passed over to the other side that can be connected to. Sometimes we can connect into our ego or other energies. So can we just give everyone very succinct clarity as to how to have discernment around those different beings or those different energies, and how to know clearly which energies you're connecting into, and how when you ask, or when you're in this place of the theta meditation, in the theta brainwave, that you can ask that you be connected to this highest, all that is divine source energy. And that you are, when you connect to that, that you know what that feels like, that you have certainty that that's what you're connecting into. And any fears around connecting into false gods or false prophets or dark energy, is just clearing out those fears as well for anyone who has them. It's showing you how to know that when you're in alignment and when you're connected to source energy, it feels blissful, it feels incredible, it feels light, it feels fun. It's the feeling that helps you know that you're aligned. When you feel amazing, there's an alignment there. When you feel sad and, depression, there's a disalignment there. So how to recognize the alignment through feeling amazing, and that's possible for you, and you're doing so now. And can we also show you how to trust those whispers and how to recognize those whispers, your spidey senses or your gut instinct or intuition, and how to connect into those easily as well. And that's easy and safe and possible for you, and how to make time to ask yes and no questions, which we're going to get into shortly. So can we show you what it would feel like and how to have a really clear and strong yes and a really clear and strong no when it comes to divine guidance, when it comes to asking yes and no questions, and that's possible and safe for you, and you're able to do so now. And any of you that may have fears of some level of being harmed in any way or harming others by having this connection, and any pain and trauma and drama around any time and place where you may have felt harmed from being connected or disconnected or connecting to others, just release the harm there and the fear of harm from having a deep connection to God. And then we'll just ask that you can receive any openings to this intuition, to this connection. So if there's a pineal gland healing or a third eye healing that can come for you now, or even a crown chakra, opening up your crown chakra to even more awarenesses, we'll just ask for anyone on the call that would like those healings to be brought in for them to experience those now. And can we show you that how to be aligned and how to feel aligned in your flow, and that you can stay there, that you can stay feeling aligned and supported and connected with this clarity of communication, and that's safe and that's possible for you, and you're able to do so now. Okay. So I want to step into practicing. So while we're in the space of connection, I want to step into practicing what a strong yes and no feel like for you intuitively. And this is something that with practice will get even stronger and clearer, but for many of you, it might come fairly clearly right now. So we can feel a yes or no response in our bodies, and we can also feel them intuitively. So for me, an intuitive yes goes upward. I feel like there's a pull up and it feels lighter and brighter. And then a divine no feels heavy and constrictive and like it's going downward, it's pulling down and it's sort of dark. And then within my body, like I can kind of feel that in my heart or in my stomach. Like it's like, ugh. So that's what a no feels like versus a yes. Some people might just see the words yes, 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 and they might see the words no, 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 like blinking. There's so many different ways. Everyone might feel a tingly for a yes and like a heavy for a no. Again, depending on your intuitive giftings, like some people will see very clearly, some people will hear very clearly, some people might see a color. You know, everyone's different, and it'll shift and grow as you play around with this stuff. So I just want everyone to take a moment to connect into feeling what a yes feels like for them. So we're going to ask, please show me a divine yes, and what a divine yes feels like for me. So just feel into that. And interestingly enough, that was a new feeling. When I asked that, I got almost like this tingly sort of thing lifting from my forehead. I've never felt that before. So that was a new way I could feel it. Okay, and then let's try for a moment what a divine no feels like for you, or looks like for you intuitively, how to know what your divine no is. So just feeling into that no as well. Okay, and for me, I got, again, a different sensation. It was like there was a string being pulled from my heart and pulled downward. So that was what I felt this time for divine. No. Okay. And then I want to play around with asking a question. So, again, feel into that. If you had trouble with that, let it go. It's all good. Come back and revisit it another time. Don't put any pressure on this. Just be open to it. I know when I first tried this probably about 4 or 5 years ago, I did not have a lot of clarity. And that's okay. I was like, I feel like that might be a yes or that might be a no. And I just kind of kept playing around with it. And the more I did, the clearer I became. And the more, I was still, the clearer it became. So let's just try asking a question. So I want you to think of something very simple that you would like an answer to in your life. Okay, so I'm hearing my sister and brother-in-law own a restaurant here in Stratford called the Keystone Alley, and I want to go for dinner there on Thursday. So I want to go, but I'm hearing to check in and see, is it in my highest and best and the highest and best of my family to go to the Keystone Alley on Thursday night. So it's super simple. I'm not asking about big stuff to start. I'm just playing with a really simple connection. But even, again, this is a whisper, right? If we listen to really simple decisions and ask for guidance, it's a really good place to start. And then when you have to connect into the bigger, more life-changing questions, there's some more clarity and some more trust in your reception as well. So I want you to take a moment to think about, for you, what would be a really simple question that you would like a yes or no answer to. And can we give you the highest perspective, understanding, and truth on how to trust your guidance? And give you the highest perspective, understanding, and truth on trusting your inner guidance system and how to act on that trust. Okay. So just take a moment now to ask, is it in my highest and best to? And be specific, whatever the question is, and see if you feel into a yes or feel into a no. So I'm going to say, is it in my highest and best to go to the Keystone Alley for dinner on Thursday? Okay. And if you want, you can ask why, if you feel like there might be a why or more explanation. So I got a no, actually, and then I asked why. So because I can receive more information, the why was coming through, and it feels like the people that I want to take for dinner with me aren't going to be available on Thursday. So I heard another day would probably work better if you want to include those people in the meal. So I got a no, which I was surprised at. I was like, no, why not? And then I heard, well, the people that you want to take aren't available. I was like, okay, so then an alternative date. So sometimes it might just be yes or no and you struggle to get the additional information, but play around with asking why, or, can I receive some more guidance on that? Or ask the question slightly differently is sometimes really powerful, because maybe, the question wasn't asked in a way that was as clear as it could be. And then again, it's always potent to ask, and how does it get better than this, or what else is possible, right? Because maybe right now they're not available, but I could also ask, well, what else is possible? Maybe if it's in the highest and best, our friends can be available on Thursday for dinner as well. So does that make sense, Nicole? Were you able to connect into that? We only have a couple minutes here because I think we started a bit later, but
oh my goodness,
were you able to kind of? I know.
I did. And we do have a show right behind you. Holy smokes. You know what? It was awesome, but we've got to get you to go shift into wrap up and shameless self-promotion. So
awesome.
Would you like to go?
Yes. So I guess just for our listeners on the caller, just play around with that. So be still, connect, use this theta healing meditation, go in and ask yes and no questions, and just ask for guidance throughout your day. Practice every day asking a couple questions if you can. And just feel into it, and then listen to those body senses and know that you're the one creating your experience. So, yeah, you can connect with me at KristaHurley.com if you're interested in more information. And just thank you, Nicole, for holding the space for all of this awesome information to come through. And thanks for the audience for connecting in and tuning in and being here.
Yay, that was awesome today. I can't believe how fast that went, but I wasn't even paying attention. So it shocked me. Right back to reality, but I'm looking forward to next time with you already. Krista, have a great month.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Nicole. Take care.
All right. Krista Hurley is all linked up at newsforthesoul.com. We're just getting started. This is Nicole Whitney, News for the Soul, life-changing talk radio from the uplifting to the unexplained. It's a great honor to have you on the show tonight. Welcome, Deepak Chopra.
Thank you.
Yes, this is Uri.
Hi, Uri. It's Nicole Whitney calling News for the Soul. Welcome to News for the Soul, Robert Allen.
Thank you, Nicole. It's great to be here with you tonight.
Why are you here? We're talking to Carolyn Myss about Sacred Contracts, one of her many best-selling books. Welcome to the show, Greg Braden.
Well, good evening, Nicole. It's certainly a pleasure to hear your voice and a pleasure to be here tonight.
Welcome to the show, Stuart Wilde.
Thank you very much.
John Kehoe, welcome to News for the Soul.
Hey, how are you?
Next up, Dr. David Morehouse.
I'm so glad that you called me because you are doing such an important task, important work, because you are spreading a very positive message.
I was really moved by last week's show because we made a commitment to a worldwide event to try to change consciousness.
I'm feeling enormous energy around this show. Just enormous. I really have to hand it to you, Nicole. You've created sort of a niche of amazing connections. It's just like the angels and the devatas that are like attracted to News for the Soul is amazing.
Hello, everybody. This is Daniel Brinkley. Welcome to the Hearts and Minds of Unfoldment. This is News for the Soul.
Hello, this is Satyan Raja, and you're listening to News for the Soul. Be open in your mind, your body, your being. Allow yourself to drench in this awesome information to evolve you to your next place.
Hey, this is Dave Morehouse, and you're listening to News for the Soul.